What's up guys, Ninth Gym here, and today we're going to be ranking all of the Paradox Pokemon for Series 2 VGC. We've officially got a lot of tournament results, online tournament results for Series 2, and we've done some testing, and I think it's pretty cohesive what are good and are not very great. I think it's finally time for me to do this video. This is one that I've wanted to do for a while, and it's now happening. Can't use them. They're currently illegal. These Pokemon are going to be absurdly good when they're illegal though, or when they are illegal. We'll start off with Brute Bonnet. This Pokemon is incredibly good. It's very, very solid. I'm going to immediately put it in A, but it's definitely at the top of A. It has access to Spore and Rage Powder still. It's a pretty solid offensive Pokemon while still having access to Spore and Rage Powder like Amoonguss does. But you also have access now to very high power moves like Knockoff and Sucker Punch, all being Stab. You also have Seed Bomb. So you have a strong physical attacker that also still has good defensive capabilities and ridiculously good supportive moves. This Pokemon all in all is really good. It's still topping a lot of these tournaments, and I definitely think you should expect a lot of it in this format. It's really good. Next we've got Roaring Moon, and I want to give this one S tier, but it's probably the lowest of S tier. I have 3 Pokemon in mind that I'm giving S tier, and this is one of them. It is the lowest of the 3, I think, in terms of usability and just like versatility as well, but Roaring Moon has a lot going for it. It is a really strong Pokemon, really high attack and speed, and it also has access to Dragon Dance and Tailwind, Tailwind being the more notable of the two, but Dragon Dance is still a pretty cool move as well. You have access to Tailwind, and then you also still have access to strong stab moves, things like the Breaking Swipe and the Crunch, like for, you know, its natural stab moves, but you also have the Flying Terra with the booster energy acrobatics tech that a lot of people are using to make it an absurdly strong physical flying type Pokemon as well, which is really strong in a format that has a lot of Pokemon like these. You have good fighting Pokemon going around, you have good grass Pokemon going around like the Amoonguss, the Brute Bonnet, all these kind of really good things. And yeah, I think it fits right into the meta really efficiently, and it's probably the best Tailwind Pokemon currently in the format. Not to say, you know, because it's very different from Murkrow because it doesn't have priority, but it does a lot of other things. You know, it does very high power offensive moves. It has access to Breaking Swipe that can lower attack as well. So it just is really good and fits into the format really well, and I think it deserves S tier. Next we have Iron Valiant, and I think this Pokemon is cool, but I don't think it's incredible. Fighting Fairy type is interesting, but it doesn't really, like, it's good offensive, but it's not the best in the world defensively. It is good. It is all right defensively. The thing that I wish that it didn't get was, you know, it has really high attack, but it also has really high special attack. And I wish that was not like spread so thin between those, or spread so thick between those two. I kind of wish, you know, it had more bulk instead of the special attack. So that's like, honestly, its big downside. I'm going to slap it into C tier. I think it's usable, but I don't think it's like the heavy hitter of the format. It should be bulkier, but it isn't. Next we have Iron Thorns, and this Pokemon, it's a D tier Pokemon. It doesn't really have access to anything. Like, it's cool. It's so cool. I really like that guy. Tyranitar is one of my favorite Pokemon, but it doesn't get to do anything. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. Great Tusk is good. It's a solid Pokemon. Wow, look at us. We're spreading everything equally. This is a fair, it's fair. We're spreading everything equally. It is good. Great Tusk is good. It has good offense. It's a ground fighting type, which is very good. Offensively, you have Earthquake. You can ground Terra it for 2x stab Earthquakes, which is cool. It's very solid offensively, is really what we're getting at here. It has really high stats. Great Tusk has really good stats across the board, except for its special defense stat, which is pretty lackluster, but you can give it an Assault Vest if you want to, and I think probably a lot of players are doing that. You can also give it like Life Orb or Booster Energy and just hit people really hard, and that's really cool as well. You have access to Knockoff, you have access to really strong stab moves, you can run Protect, you can run, I think it gets Swords Dance. Like, this Pokemon has a lot of stuff going for it. It is kind of like a one-trick pony, it kind of just punches, which is cool because a lot of Pokemon will just do that, especially like offensive Paradox Pokemon. Next we have Iron Jugulis, and I'm sad to say it, but I think this goes into C tier. It honestly, I want to put it in D tier, but I think it has access to a couple things. It has like Snarl and stuff. Like it gets Tailwind, which definitely gives it a little bit more usability than, you know, D tier and F tier Pokemon should get. So I think it definitely can fit into a meta. I don't know how well it'll fit into this meta, but I think it's a Pokemon that's usable, but not great. Iron Hands. We have our second S tier Pokemon, everybody. Now, this Pokemon is definitely stronger in this format, Series 2, than it would be in the Ancient Legendaries allowed format. because it doesn't really take advantage of things like Chi-Yu and Chien-Pao as well as the other Pokemon do. There's Fake Out, which is really good. You have Drain Punch, which is really good for such an incredibly bulky Pokemon. You slap an AV on this Pokemon and it has such incredibly spread defenses. It's really, really bulky while still hitting really hard. And you have access to Close Combat and Thunder Smash. What's that attack? You guys know what I'm talking about. Wild Charge. It does a lot of damage offensively. It doesn't take a lot of damage defensively. It doesn't have any 4x weaknesses, and it's just a really good Pokemon in the meta. You can slap this and an Amoonguss on any team, and then you have checks for Trick Room. I think this Pokemon's really good, and it's definitely shown off in the current meta because it's been destroying every single Series 2 tournament, alongside Iron Bundle, which is a Pokemon that I want to give S tier, but I'm probably not going to. Next, we have the future Tusk. I forget what it's called, but it's not good. Iron Treads. It's not good, unfortunately. I am going to give this Pokemon D tier because I don't really see its usability at all. It just doesn't really do anything. It's not very good. Next, we have Iron Moth, and this is definitely better than all of these Pokemon so far down here in C and D. This Pokemon hits really hard. It has a good special attack. It has a good speed, but it doesn't really have anything going for it in bulk. I think it has a good special defense, but that's about it. It's not a bad Pokemon. It's really not a bad Pokemon, but neither are either of these Pokemon. I just don't expect to see it winning or topping a lot of tournaments, and that's kind of the criteria for A and B. Next, you have Scream tier, and I think Screamtail screams B tier. This is a really solid Pokemon in all aspects. It's very bulky. It has access to Trick Room. It has access to Parasong, which I think is really cool. It definitely gets a buff, or gives a buff to these Parasong teams. Being a really bulky Parasong user that has access to Encore, you have access to Disable. I think this Pokemon has a lot going for it, and its bulk especially is incredibly good. I think it's one of our best bulky Trick Room setters, and it definitely is going to fit onto a lot of teams, and I like him. Next, we have our last S tier Pokemon, and this is Flutter Mane, and I don't think this comes to as a surprise to anybody. It's incredibly fast, it's incredibly strong special attacking, and it has a really good special defense as well. Those are its highlighted stats, and those stats are very, very well highlighted because it's a really good Pokemon. Flutter Mane, even without Chi-Yu, it's going to be a dominant force in the meta. Now, without Chi-Yu, it's not going to be quite the dominant force it is in the meta. When Chi-Yu is here, Chi-Yu Flutter Mane is definitely one of the scariest things that this Pokemon gen even introduced. It's really, really strong. It's really strong. Now, this Pokemon is really good. It has access to Dazzling Gleam and Shadow Ball. It's really strong stab, special attacking moves. It's a really good Pokemon. I don't think it's surprising anybody that it's S tier. Sandy Shocks. I was going to give this dumb guy, D tier, but it's been actually like surprising me with a couple tournament tops and stuff. I'm going to put it in C tier because it's not like an unplayable Pokemon, but it's not incredibly good. Special attack. It has a good special attack, and its bulk is all right all around. Next, we have Iron Bundle, which is going to be our second A tier Pokemon, and I think it's a little higher A tier than the Brute Bonnet. It's a new form of speed control in the meta, which is really good, of relevant speed control. It's a really fast Icy Wind user, and you can even Choice Scarf it if you want to. I don't think you're really going to. I think it's more so the Focus Sash, but Choice Scarf is definitely viable. You have access to really strong stab moves, like everything does. Hydro Pump and Freeze Dry. You also have Icy Wind, which is really, really good for it, and Protect. It's going to be its usual set, but this Pokemon gives it access to a really fast Icy Wind user. It's kind of like the Electro Web Regieleki was last format, or in, last gen, but I think Iron Bundle is definitely going to be a shoe-in for a lot of teams. It's also a good Pokemon that allows snow stuff really to be good because it's like the best ice Pokemon we have, and yeah, I think it's really good. I think it comes as no surprise that it's really good. Next, we have Slitherwing, and once again, it's a Pokemon that I want to give D tier, but has surprised me and given a couple different tournament results, and we'll give it C tier. It's fair. Appease the Moxie boosters of the format. It's a cool Pokemon. It has access to some interesting stuff that I can't even name because I have not been paying attention to this Pokemon, but it topped a tournament. A couple Series 2 tournaments, I think it actually slid in. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Comment down below what your thoughts. Comment down below your thoughts, and yeah. Goodbye. I feel like I did too many thumbs up. That's kind of weird.